Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices for Monday, October the 31st. Starting with the US dollar here, I think this is kind of pivotal and interesting in that I can see we've got one more leg down through here to complete this structure. So this, I've changed this top here a little bit because I can see that this move down here as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, fourth, fifth fits nicely, the 38.2% here. So we've got one more leg to come down through here to this wave 4 here. So while this is coming down here, I would expect the US markets to continue to push up at that point. So I see another couple of days of the US markets pushing to the upside while this pushes to the downside, and then we'll see at this point here, because we've got to kind of figure out with the US dollar, do we have an A wave, B wave and C wave here for a wave 4 and then push up, or do we actually have a top in place and we have 1 and 2 and then we keep building to the downside? Even once this move got a little move to the upside here, first I think, but once that's finished, to down here, but even when it gets down here, it'll take a little while for us to figure out, are we going to be coming down further? We'll need to look at this here if we get an impulse wave or a corrective rally, and it'll be the same on the US markets to the downside. The other interesting point here too is the 10-year yields here, that we've been looking at this move to the upside. So I think we could actually have a top in here now. It does look a little bit impulsive coming down from the top here. So, you know, maybe the Feds drop it from 75 to 50 or something of that nature, and it eases off here a little bit, you know. We'll see. Anyway, just shooting the breeze on that as turning points. So obviously we've got the elections this week on or the 8th, I think it is, or the following week, is it? Yeah. And do the Feds get together tomorrow, the next day? That will be the other point to double check as well. Okay, so going over to the indices, and starting with the S&P on the daily chart here. So it looks like we're going to be pushing higher. So last time we spoke, we were talking about do we have a top in right now, or do we need to go higher for in that case? So it appears we're looking to go higher. So we were preparing to short, basically, looking at any possible downside, because we don't want to miss anything. So we kind of got to be, you know, all over it a little bit. So from the top here to the bottom here, the 61.8% is at the 4,000. As you know, the SPX might be a bit different and the SPY might be a little bit different, and so on and so on. But just generally speaking, that comes back up to that large number. So we need to bring this up to this point here for this. And yeah, as I talked about last week, for a wave 2, you normally need, you'd normally expect an impulse wave, and then a correction, and then another impulse wave. So a 5-3-5 structure for this move up here. So we can get that by putting the A wave here, and this fits okay on the SPX and the SPY, and then look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. But on the futures market, we've got this wave 4 here that comes back, overlaps wave 1. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. And just and we'll have a look at this today with the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ actually counts better with wave A here and a wave B here, because it came down further, and then looking for a wave C to the upside. So that's slightly different again. But the only thing that you can really do with all of this is that, yes, we know the markets are going up, so you know, short-term traders can be long, but in terms of going to the downside, then we need to be we need to take the most conservative view, and then we just need to go step by step. So as I mentioned last time, we would look for we understand that there's further upside, but there can be further upside. That was pretty clear with the SPY and the SPX. But so once we go to here, then we go to here, and now we'll need to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So, but do we need to extend it up even further than that? We'll see, but we just need to go one step at a time. In the bigger picture, if we were looking for, I'm just going to move my video recording thing out the way. I'm going to go to the weekly chart here for a moment. We hadn't been here for a day or two, so this is kind of interesting, really, because if you have a look at the stock video today, we went through a few videos in a few sectors. So this, as an A wave here with a smaller A, B and C wave up here, is something that we might need to grapple with as well, because it's occurring in the banking sector and also in the health sector here. So it's clear here with the health sector, which is quite a strong market because it hasn't dropped very much. So we can look at this as the A wave here, and then a nice ABC here, just like the banks really. And then this move down here, it doesn't really, because I'm thinking, can we put this here as an A wave here and a B wave here and a C wave here? Possibly, but as this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, then there's quite a strong overlap in that case there. So it doesn't really count nicely as a C wave at this point. Also, the C wave didn't really make a new low here as well. Not that it has to, but it still needs to give 5 waves. So there's 2 boxes unticked here to have a low in place of an A and a B and a C wave here. It's possible, but would have to say, well, that didn't fit very well, did it? So the next logical step is putting this over here, and the banks are like this too, because some of the banks may have taken the top out here in some cases. So looking at this as the A wave here, then an A and a B and a C for the B wave, and then coming down for the C wave here. So in this case, counting 5 waves up, so 1 and 2 here, a nice 3rd wave up here, so having a 4th and a 5th to go up here. So that's kind of how the US banks are. It's how some of the European markets are, and some of the Asian markets are like this as well. Most of the other markets are sort of pretty straight, sort of forward in a way. The consumer discretionaries here, they also haven't really made a low below here, but we can count 5 waves down. Should we leave it at that, and put wave C here as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave here? I mean, this is a corrective wave, so we should make new lows here. So this hasn't really sort of moved up that much at all, really, so we can still stay with that 1 and 2 in this case too. We can't sort of rule that out. Then you've got things like the tech sector here, well, NASDAQ, where we can just, still, well, I mean, really, when you look at this, we can put the A wave here, the B wave here and the C wave here, and we've finished the correction. And we can move up from that point. So it looks okay on the tech sector here, but at the same time, we'll continue to work that. The industrials are quite strong as well, but I won't go into all of them at the moment. I just really wanted to talk about this because it's kind of how the NASDAQ is playing out and the US banks are playing out, and could the S&P play out? So what I'm actually doing here is that when we looked at the daily chart, looking for this as wave 1 here, going back for wave 2, if we need to extend it up further, then we can extend it up further at that point, So 2 things, we're looking for a top. At the same time, we can trade long. You can trade long into the 4,000, or you can basically trade long for a couple of sessions really, because if Friday closes strong, then Monday's going to follow through on that. So Tuesday will slow down even further at that point. So this would be the following step that we would need to move to in that case. I'm just going to go back to the daily chart now and just pick up our thing here. So basically, we're going to be looking at this as an A and a B and a C wave here to the 61.8%. Anything past that, then we'll need to look at the market moving up into this section up here at that point. So let's go to, I think we're on intraday at 50K here. So this is how we would look at it here. But as I pointed out last time we spoke as well, this top here, if I can draw a horizontal line, we were overlapping at that point. I don't really find that a big deal in in derivatives, you know, on the SPX and the SPY and those sorts of things, then that's a bit of a deal. So with the SPY here, I don't have the SPX on this chart. I have to go to another charting program, but the SPY and the SPX are pretty much the same. So in this case, we've had it as the wave A, B here, and then 1 and 2. And I'm not happy with this wave 2, you know, but still 1 and 2, and then counting up here for 3 and 4, and then we need to go up here for the 5th wave up here. So the A, the B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for that. So we still got further to move up in all of this here for this anyway, for the SPY. So what I'll do is I know the market's still going to continue up. I don't think that spike there was there on, this is a CFD product, so I don't think the spike was there on the normal SPY, so take it from that point, which also leaves a nice A, B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish off there. But what we're going to do here is we're going to track those 5 waves up here. We'll just keep counting those. I won't go into that today, but you can see we've got 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2, and then we've got the 3rd, 4th, 5th for the 3rd, the 4th, and 5th. So this is going to take about 2 sessions, you know. That's basically it in a nutshell for this, you know. So anyway, that's that. So what I wanted to say here is that we'll go up to the wave 5 here. We'll count it all the way up, and then anything above that wave 5 here, then we'll need to revisit the situation. You know, we'll either need to look at this as a more bullish move, or we'll need to count this in a different way here as well. So yeah, okay, so that's that. So that was because we talked about that overlap last time we spoke, you know, but now we've got to suck it up. So, yep, and now we need to count 5 waves in this move here. We know that the 4,000 is going to be a bit of a glass ceiling. We know it's the 61.8%. We know the supply starts, you know, all around in this area here now. So really, that's sort of where we are. So 10K and 1K. Let's just cruise into these for a moment. So this is where we were. I know I didn't touch this chart, so it's just one that I was talking about. So we were talking about, let me just clean this up here. We were obviously talking about this last time I spoke as well. So it had that overlap at that point, and I was looking at justifying this in different ways and things, but we don't really need to go into this chart that much at this point. Yeah, nothing really to see here, I don't think. Is there anything I need to do at this point with this? No, it's okay, I think. You know, we'll have to put that back over here. This will actually give us our five waves here, 3 waves here, and then our 5 waves here. So 5, 3, 5 structure, but I don't like it because it's the C wave here is really big compared to wave A. So to me, something smells not right about all. I mean, wave 2 has never felt right to me, yeah. So I mean, if it was a bullish market, it'd be 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 at that point, you know. We'll see how this scoots along though. Like I said, the NASDAQ count's quite interesting if I just shoot in the breeze here with the A wave here and the B wave here, but it looks a little bit silly doing it here. So, and the NASDAQ has been a bit weaker, so I can sort of justify that. And we'll look at that next anyway. Let's just go to the 100 ticks to drill in a little bit further. And I don't think I've changed this either. So I did do a bit of work on the trend. That's good. Just get a bit more in here. So okay, so anyway, today we'll be looking at this as wave 4 here, but in a nutshell, there's 2 days to go to the upside. What you see is not what you get next, you know. So if you're looking at a trend, you're likely to get a correction next, but Monday will follow through, and it probably also definitely slow down into Tuesday. So the big ones here are 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, and then going up for wave 5 here of 5 of C of 2. So once we count all this out here, then anything beyond, above that, we will also be looking for short trades here. We'll need to bring the rest of the market in. We'll also be looking for short trades. We'll also need to validate like an impulse wave coming to the downside. And yeah, there's a lot of work to do at this point, but it's where it can fail, and it means that we can trade long up to that point, get out, then we have to wait, and we can look for the short trade first rather than the long trade. But it could go higher, so we need to be mindful of that. I have started to count it up as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Seems to be extending out here, so I've probably got the wrong count, but I have accounted. There is 5 waves in that little move, 5 waves in that little move, and this one seemed to be stretching out here a little bit, so I might need to adjust things on that side of it. But yeah, I could see we could count this a little bit differently. So anyway, the 390 will probably get retested at some point with a little wave 4 there. Anyway, you can see how I've got it counted. So that's I could count that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how. Let me see. I mean, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I can go 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and a nice strong third wave in here. So that's the thing. Sometimes you just sort of don't know how it's going to extend out, and I could also rearrange these as well. But either way, the thing here is that you see how we've got that good definition here of wave 2. We don't have that as wave 4 yet, and wave 4 will only pull back 38.2%, so we don't really have any decent wave 4s in here just yet. That's such a small one. So really, I guess the worst damage that could come if we took this here, let's just assume that that's green wave 3 top here. The worst it could do is come back to the 3860 at this point. But yeah, Monday should follow through on that, so I don't think that's the case. So what we can do, we can give this here a little bit of definition in terms of that 3.9, because that's the closest largest number. And then what we do, because this is probably what will happen, it's just the norm. So above we've got 10, 20 and 30, so normally it will fade within that, in that space, and then if it kicks back into group 2, which is the lower end, is in this case is 3865. So if it was going to come back, that's pretty much where it would come back to at this stage. So that would be the support for this market. So the worst that would happen would be that this would top out here, come back to this point, and then, you know, spend some time in here before pushing to the upside. That's the worst case scenario. So it could be much easier than that. If I'm wrong, because you need to know when you're wrong, is that if the market comes up and I'll keep it very simple, just creates the first high above the 30 here, so 3.9 and 10, 20, 30, then if that, once you got the first high in and that gets breached from that point, then then you know that you're leaving this number, and then you'll be going up to this number. So you'd need a tested support here, and this is the cleanest way I could do that, just waiting for the first high above the level. Yeah, so that's what you need, like a bit like here, this top here. So that's the first high above the level here. So if that's breached, then you know that you're leaving this number, you know. So just an easy way safe way to do it. It's not perfect. Nothing is perfect, but that's what that's what you need to be looking for. Okay, so that said, we need to look at the NASDAQ. So on the daily chart here, you see how the NASDAQ pulled back deeper here because the Microsoft and Alphabet and Meta and a big handful of them really fell out of bed, but Apple's recovered. The earnings have pushed it up and has pushed the NASDAQ up. So the NASDAQ is looking quite good. So, I mean, you could count this up here in different ways. I mean, you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with a bit of overlap there, or you could go the A, the B, and the C. But if it's going to be a wave 2, we should be looking at it as a 5-wave move, or at least a leading diagonal triangle or something of that nature. But either way, it has pulled back to, from the low to the high here, it has pulled back to its 61.8%. So all we need to do here now as well is just really count 5 waves up here. And we know we've got a couple of days to go on that. So that's where we would be looking at it like that. Now, anything past those 5 waves, then we've got a different issue at that point. We would have to look at being higher at that point. But obviously after 5 waves, it's going to pull back anyway, and it will pull back in such a way it will be in 3 waves. So if we were going to go long, all we need to do is go long above that point. So that's going to be pretty easy to sort of handle. So we just need to look at everything and accommodate everything and just step forward. And sometimes you know what's going on, other times you don't. So you need to take precautions and be extra safe. I mean, it does make a nice ABC pattern down here as I mentioned, as an A and a B and a C, and folks are picking up on that and calling the low in, and I understand that. I just see a few little other things that are not sort of solved yet. You know what I mean? We need to know where that US dollar is. Some of the stocks and sectors still have potential downside. I can see that they could be, like the health sector, that if I bring the health sector back here for a moment, as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave down here, yeah, that's all cool. We could have a low in, and it looks very bullish at this point and all of that, but it doesn't really give me a nice 5 waves down. It didn't make a new low here. The same as some of the banks are like this as well. Could it be, though? Could it actually be in here? Possibly, but all I'm saying is that it hasn't really ticked enough boxes. But what we're going to do with all of these markets is really just look at this move that's coming up here, right? So if we're going to get this 5-wave structure up here, anything above that 5-wave structure, and we will be bullish. So if we got 5 waves here and we get an ABC pullback, or down for 1 and back for 2, and we go short here and that top gets taken out, well, then we'll have to be long at that point. And we'll be going into a 3rd wave, and we'll catch that 3rd wave at that point. So that's how we're going to handle it. We're just going to take the next logical step and move forward. But yeah, so I don't have all the answers for where we're going to be at the moment with all of this. I can see that there's still good possibility of downside. And I know that it's hard to take that as you see the market push up. You think, no, it's bullish, and that can be the case as well. But yeah, there are things that because some of this market that's come down here as 5 waves, that's all good. But there's some markets that have come down here that have got corrective patterns, got corrective patterns over here and haven't taken that low out. I mean, the health sector was pretty close, and some of the banks are pretty close, but there are other markets that haven't taken that low out. Anyway, let's go to 5 and 5K, and then straight into 100 by the looks of it. So let's just get some more data in here. 2K enough? Yeah. Okay. So this picks us up from the low here, from that low. Now, yeah, so we could look at this as, we could probably count, you can count this in a few different ways, but, we could go 1, 2, 3, 4 here, but there's definitely a lot of overlap there, and then up for 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we look at it as the leading diagonal wave A, possibly? But as an A and a B and a C here, they've got nice equality between the 2 legs here, and then the size of this leg here is kind of the size of this one. So there's a nice balance between that one, and that one. We have pulled back to that 61.8% here for that, pulling back into here. So now we're just looking at this move up here as wave 1 here, and 2 here, and 3 here, and 4 here, and 5 here. That's how we're going to look at this to the upside here. As I mentioned, it could go, I mean, this leg here as wave C here is a little, in terms of time and just the size of it compared to all of this, or at least all of the A wave here, is still rather small. So we also need to be mindful that when we come up here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that it's just not wave 1 here and wave 2 here. So this is where we'll need to be, you know, chasing this up from here. If you're long here, that's fantastic, but it's not, you know, it's going to be a bit tough for at these old highs here. I mean, it should make new highs here. We should get some sort of, you know, top into here, and then wave 4 here, and wave 4 will stick out because, you know, wave 2 is stuck out. We haven't got that wave 4 there yet, and wave 5. So when it gets to this, we'll just need to be careful that it's wave 1 and 2 here. But as I mentioned, there will be some sort of ABC pattern back here for that, so that will enable us to go long. We'll be able to get a better position than that, but just pointing out that you know, if it's going to go further, what are we going to do about it? You know, and that's what we're going to do about it. Over the videos ahead, over the next day or two, we're going to talk about this top a bit more and how we got to set up for the short side, and yeah, we need to be looking at both sides. So we'll do that in a bit more detail, and over into 100 ticks here for this. So just to count this to the upside here, this leg here, folks are looking at it. So from the B wave here, we're looking at 1 and 2, and then this one's counted differently. I'll have to go back over and double check this one actually, because there might be a possibility to put wave 1, which I'm just going to copy that now and put that there so I could double check that. Possibility to put 1 here and 2 here, and then 1 and 2. It looks like a bit of a fourth wave here for this, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for a third wave here, so that third wave could also go here as well. Bit small for the fourth wave compared to this one. So anyway, a bit of work to do on this, but the main point here is you see this move here, this one here, we haven't seen the other side to that just yet. So this will come up into group 2, so 11,500 is a medium level, and it's got support on that, so it'll push up into 11,650. That will be the next target for that. Yes, the 600 is important, but the 650 will be more important. And then if it can find support in the 650, then it's into group 2, and if it's into group 2 with the classic trading levels pattern at that 11,650 there, then you know that it's leaving this number and going higher at that point. So then we'll be looking at this. We've got to find this top of wave 3 here, which will probably come in the next session. Rightio, so that's that, and then we're over to I think we normally do the Russell next, don't we? So I'll do the Russell next because I've got that on my list. So with the Russell here, we were go back over all the good points and the bad points. So we're looking to go short under group 2 here. That was the trick with that. So that didn't occur. The wave 4 here looked pretty good, so that stayed in place. We're looking for a move up into wave 5. It looks like it's going, we know we've got a couple of sessions to go to the upside. So we'll have to put this up here further, and then we'll have to take a look at at this particular trend. We don't need this here now for that, so I can move that out the way. So we're in this little area here now. So we really need to look at this as wave 1 and 2 here. But when I look at that's the futures market. But when I look at the ETF here, we've got this move here a little bit differently here, so that's kind of interesting. So this one made a new low below here, so we can't call that wave 1 and 2 on this market. I mean, it doesn't look, you know, I mean, it looks better if I could just do this. That looks more sensible to me, you know, but this platform has taken that low out there. So just check on yours. If that's not the low and that's the low, then you'll need to look at this as wave 1 here and so on at that point. But because this one is like that, I'll need to treat it like that. And then we'll need to look up here. So there's different ways of counting this up here as well. But at the same time, I know there's a couple of sessions to go to the upside, so I really need to probably stretch this out a little bit, like I've got here for this. I can count it conservatively. I could put wave 1 here and 2 here, and then look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going up here for the third wave up here, and the fourth wave, and then the fifth wave here. But I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that's the case. So 185. If 185 becomes the support, then you can expect it to move up higher at that point. It will stop here. And it will also today as well is about the 183 here. So with 180, you've got 1, 2, and 3 here for this. So that's there. So 1, 2, 3 for group 1, and then the 5, and then the 8 here. And when we talk about the 8, we talk about group 2, which is 186.50. So that's important of that getting support or not getting support, and then the 187.20 in there as well. Because we can see the rest of the market going up for a couple of sessions, well then we'll see how this goes up here. We may need to recount this. So look, it could stop at 185 or just above that and then turn lower from that point, but the other markets appear that they need to go up further, so we'll need to be mindful of that. We're in a bullish trend. So so that's that really. So from here we've got 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, and the fourth wave, and the fifth wave. Once again, I'm not that happy about all of this in here. I mean, some of it's okay. From the low here, we've got that nice little impulse wave here. So we could label it wave A or wave 1 and put this here as a wave A, B, and C wave here. There is a bit of overlap on that. That's a bit of an issue. Otherwise, you would need to look at this as 1 and 2 here. But then this would be going up further. If I looked at this like we've looked at the S&P with wave A here and B here, and then looking at this as wave 1 here, and then wave 2 here for that, then I can't count that as wave 3 yet because it's not finished. So I'd have to look at this up here as a wave 3 up here, and then a wave 4 over here, and then a wave 5 to the upside, going up even higher at that point. You know what I mean? Because I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the third wave here. So this is not played out here. So I think the A and the B and the C is the first step that we need to work with. So we don't need to go there just yet, but we do need to need to look at this move here, which technically shouldn't be long, because we got the extension in wave 3 here. That means that wave 1 here and wave 5 can be roughly the same size, but I can see that we need to move up for a couple of days. So so coming back to the futures market here, the same thing again as well. We don't need that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then going up for 5 here. Once again, the extension's in wave 3. So wave 1 here and wave 5 should be roughly the same. So, what I could say here is that if I was trading this and I was trapped in here, then I would be looking for it like this. So I would look for the first high above the 1850, and then I'd put my stop on top there. And then when the market comes up again, there'll be a second high. Then you can bring your stop down to this high here. That's if you're trapped in this on the short side. So this would also create a trade on the long side here as well. So if you wanted to go long here, you wanted to get in here again, then that's where you could go long from at this point. It does look like this is some sort of wave 1 here and 2 here, and then wave 1 here and 2 here. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of building to the upside here in this case. and this would be, it's a little bit wild in here, but this would be 1, 2 here, 3, 4, 5. It'd be something like that. Anyway, you can try to figure that out. That's good. And then this would, all of this here would be some sort of third wave here. Now I don't know if it's on this top here or this top here, but I'll just put it there because we don't have the first high above the level yet. So this opening in the Asian markets here at the moment will be, so that will need to go up here further. So 1, 2, 3, which is the top here, and it's got that as checking it as support and reconfirming that. And then 5 is the midpoint, which is the next one. Then we've got 8 up here for that. So there's still more. There's two more sessions to the upside here. How far it goes, I'm not that sure, but yeah, probably 1865, 1872 at least here. Just depends on how these two sort of stretch out here for this. And then the DJ over here. So with the DJ, well, I can't remember what we talked about with the stops here and stuff. I know we've had, I don't know, I can't remember what I said, but this is how I found it. So far as I can see, unless I've said any, I didn't mean to say anything sort of different, but if you're talking about analysis, then it's always the same for me. You know, I don't need to remember because I know what I would have said. So, but we've had these long trades in here. I don't know if we got out. We've taken percentage here. I think we took some percentage over here. I have moved the stop up. So I think that if you wanted to trail it up, I'll just leave it there. But otherwise, you would need to either take profit here. There will be further upside here. Take profit or take a percentage off at 33. Now, when I say 33 here, if this is 1 and 2 here, and this is a third wave, there's going to be a fourth and a fifth wave here. So it's going to come out at 33. 300 at the tops, probably, you know, something like that. And we'll look for the top here. This is kind of, I need to rearrange all of this a little bit, so we'll need to put wave 4 here. We have that wave C here, so we'll need to delete that. And while we're deleting a few things, I just want to see those. We don't need those. So yeah, now I need to also delete that. We'll need to put this up here. Wave 2, wave 5. So that will be to that point. Well, hang on a second. So I might need, if I've got this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is going to be wrong. So what that could also mean is it means that, let me think about this for a second. It could mean that this is just the top of the third wave here with, let me just clean this up here a little bit. And that means that we could move this to here. Don't need this anymore. Clean that one up. So we just basically, so I'm just, what I'm doing here is I'm just taking it from one step to the next step, you know, lifting it up in the next logical fashion. So that can all stay pretty much the same. So we will get a bit of a top in here, and then we can pull back for the fourth wave here, so that you'll get stopped out at that point, unless you wanted to keep that out of the way. So if this was going to go high, I can see that we need to move up here a little bit further, right? And then there can be some sort of correction here for this. And then wave 5 up here, which will be like this. It won't be that big, wave 5. So it'll be something like that. It'll give us that topping process here, which is, yeah. So this is, I'll leave this here because this is probably a good possibility. So I mean, it's a kind of the next step. So we've either got wave 5 in the top here or wave 3, depending on how we want to count this. So counting it as an A wave, a B wave, 1 and 2, a bit better of a picture in here, I have to say. yeah, as 1 and 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave. So that's possible. It's possible. It's either that, or we've got, I'll just bring this over here, or we've already got, can't, no, oh yeah, well, I see how that works. Yeah, right. So put that here. So if I was going to put wave C there, it means I need to put this wave B over here. So this would be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to this top here. So a little bit of work to do here as well. So still, we have to prove that a top is in place. So we need some evidence of a move to the downside to validate all of that. Alrighty, sorry for such a long video. Cheers.